Welcome to Vlogmas, day number 21. Just 4 short days left until Christmas. Couple of days left of Vlogmas. Hope you guys have enjoyed everything that you've been getting so far. This episode, kind of like yesterday's episode, where we're going to highlight a specific issue that I think has effect on not only just the RV community, but the traveling and outdoor community as a whole. They have one specific national park that has never charged admission fees. By law, cannot charge admission fees, but they found a loophole to get around this. Hey, I'm Terry and I am the roaming dad. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into a little bit of background on what this law is and the park. And for that, we will go directly to the website of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. As many of you know, this is the most visited national park in the entire system. The reason for that is because it is within a day's drive of nearly 3/4 of the United States population. Now, when we look at why there was never an entrance fee, we have to go back to the history of the park, and that is where the states of Tennessee and North Carolina both acquired the vast majority of the property and donated it to the federal government for the establishment of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. The little bit of land that was left was acquired from private landowners. Now, contrary to popular belief, there were no restrictions written into any of these deed transfers saying that there could never be any fees charged to enter the park. However, in 1951, you'll see here, the state of Tennessee transferred Newfound Gap Road, which is also U.S. Highway 441. It runs through the national park from Gatlinburg, Tennessee to Cherokee, North Carolina. Also donated or transferred ownership of State Highway 71/73, which is Little River Road. This runs from the Sugarlands Visitor Center all the way out to Cades Cove. There was a deed restriction placed on this that there could never be tolls charged on those roads, meaning the park could never charge people to use those roads because they were a thoroughfare through the park prior to the Eisenhower interstate system. So because of that and the federal law that is in the United States Code in Title 16, this prevented the National Park Service from charging fees anywhere that tolls are prohibited on primary park roads. So because of that, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park has always been a free park. And it always will be a free park as far as entrance is concerned, simply based on these laws, because I don't expect these laws to be changed. Here's where the problem comes in. There is a superintendent named Cassius Cash who is with the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Now, his superintendent position has been cloaked in secrecy and issues all along, even stemming back prior to the Gatlinburg fires and the warning systems where he was moved away for a little bit. With his superintendent position, he has come up with a loophole to get around charging entrance fees to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, where this park could still make money. Now, I'm going to stop with a little caveat here and say that I do not have a problem with the park trying to raise money to do things that need to be done to upkeep the park. Our national park system is amazing, and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is amazing in itself. There is so much to do and so much to see here. The problem that I have in knowing the people in this park and in working and volunteering throughout the park, I've seen where funds go and I've seen how things are allocated. Things aren't always going where they need to go. So this loophole is we'll go over here, staying on the Great Smoky Mountains National Park webpage. You can see they have a program called Park It Forward. This takes effect on March 1st of 2023. And what this basically is, it's not an entrance fee to the park, but it requires you to have a parking pass to park your vehicle inside the park. If you're going to be out of your vehicle more than 15 minutes, you have to have a parking tag for the park. Now, these show as being $5 for a day, $15 for a week, or $40 for an annual. Parking fees are not covered under our annual pass. So those of us that have the annual National Parks Pass that we already pay for, parking is specifically excluded from that. Therefore, that's not getting you around this. Basically what they're saying is you have to have a parking tag for each specific vehicle. You can't transfer them around, and that they are going to issue citations for vehicles that do not have a parking tag. This is a very slippery slope, because now we're finding loopholes around and ways to monetize the park service. This is, to me, is a fee or another tax for us to use parks that belong to us as American citizens. Going back to my bigger issue here. is if the funds were being properly allocated and properly used within the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, then this might not be such a bad idea. Since it is such a congested park, there needs to be a way to supplement the budget that the park has to help keep the park clean, maintain trails. They have the Friends of the Smokies and the Great Smoky Mountains Association. Both of those are volunteer organizations that raise money and pay for needed things within the park. There's also several volunteer organizations that work to maintain trails and to keep the litter cleaned up within the park, along with their graffiti. Unfortunately, the funds are not being properly used as they have them now. There have been, on more than one occasion, law enforcement rangers that I have personally spoken with that have told me that the superintendent, Cassius Cash, has advised them not to write citations for graffiti and litter within the park because it's a waste of time. He's told them that by the time they finish writing the citation, there would be more graffiti somewhere else in the park, so it's not worth it. Therefore, we're not enforcing things that are damaging our park and our natural resources, but we're going to enforce parking of vehicles within the national park. There seems to be an issue here, folks, and this is something that you definitely need to be aware of. This is not something that we need to see happening in many of our national parks. If the Great Smoky Mountains National Park can get away with having this program and implementing this program, next you're going to see places like Yellowstone and Rocky Mountain National Park, Yosemite, several of these larger national parks not only are going to have entrance fees, but they're going to start charging parking fees as well. And then those of us that have the annual pass are still going to have to pay to visit more of our national parks than we already do. Again, folks, this is a very slippery slope. It's something that you should definitely monitor. If you feel the same way that I do, by all means, send a quick email or a letter to your congressmen or senators. Let's make sure that this doesn't get out of hand and the National Park Service is held to the accountability standards that they need to be held to. Take care. See you guys tomorrow.